How many more seats?
The Attorney General briefed you on the DOJ and FBI review, the findings of that review. The Attorney General briefed you on that.
What? On the
DOJ and FBI
on what?
review.
On what subject?
Epstein.
Okay.
On Epstein, of the review of the files. Attorney General Bannon.
A very quick briefing.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden we went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well. And it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
On Texas, how many more seats do you want the Republicans to draw?
5.
And then what if California, New York, Illinois, and other blue states decide to do this?
That's okay too, but 5. I think we get 5. And there could be some other states. We're going to get another 3 or 4 or 5 in addition. Texas would be the biggest one, and that'll be 5.
Are you calling in for a complete redrawing of the congressional map ahead of next year?
Just a very simple redrawing. We pick up 5 seats.
But
we have a couple of other states where we'll pick up seats also.
What's your tariff rate for the EU?
When was the last time you spoke with him?
Well, when he was in my office.
And what did you tell him when he was in your office?
I told him he's doing a very bad job. He's
shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist. A young loner on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent, the helpless, the powerless, in a world of criminals who operate above the law.
Hey, it's me, and welcome to Trump Mafia. Now, you have 2 categories when you're talking about Epstein, right? So pay attention. The Epstein case and the island, everything that happened and him dying, that's one thing. The other Epstein category is the hoax that they have prepared. And President Trump alluded to it several times now, that Obama, Hillary, and Biden modified several files in preparation for this hoax, and that AG Bondi is filtering out all the forged documents. And that makes a lot of sense, because if I look at how they're rolling this out, it's exactly the way they rolled out Russiagate, Spygate. And it starts with rumors, right? Oh, Trump may be colluding with Russians. Or the other side would say, well, maybe the Russians are spying on Trump, so we got to check it out. Next thing you know, you have an FBI investigation, you have a special counsel, you know the rest. Well, the media was heavily pushing that. A lot of people online were pushing that. Now you have the same, right? Release the Epstein files and have Ghislaine Maxwell get out of jail to go to a hearing. And she doesn't want to be suicided, so she can be made to say anything. Plus, if you have these forged documents that were created by the Democrats, of course they want to release the Epstein files, right? Because it's part of a hoax. And so President Trump knows that. And of course these deep staters knew that the obstacle is the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, because you have to have an AG that's going to appoint a special counsel. You're going to have an AG that allows all these fake documents to be sent out. And so that's why you saw a massive attack online on Pam Bondi. For some reason, even fake MAGA people were saying she has to resign. And for what? For what? Some fake news from Axios, or some rumor about Dan Bongino or whatnot, all fake news. And they're using that to call for the resignation of a major cabinet member just a couple of months into the Trump administration, which would, of course, give a big win to the Democrats. But more, they an AG that's going to play along with this hoax. Now you have all these people pushing the hoax. A Drudge Report, Fox and Friends, the usual suspects, Megyn Kelly, Tucker, Elon Musk. They're all on board with this hoax, right? And they're all pretending it's all about the kids and it's about justice. Or some of them think Israel is implicated, so they care about that. Other people are like, oh, we're going to go after the Clintons, and they'll say whatever. You know, that happened with Russiagate also. They made it seem like we're protecting President Trump or something. But it was all an effort to take down President Trump and to have a special counsel to create chaos to terminate the Trump administration. And that's what they're trying now. Because if this hoax succeeds, they can paralyze the Trump administration, they can subpoena people once again, create chaos, and this would help with the midterms. Which brings me to my favorite subject, Steve Bourbon Bannon. Sloppy Joe. No, not Sloppy Joe. Sloppy Steve, who eats a lot of Sloppy Joes. Because this guy, you know, look, he's not fat in a normal sense. Like you have obese people and you have like a flabby belly. This guy has like a gas balloon. Like it's so round. It's like a balloon. You know, it's not fat. It's a balloon. So I think his health is not really that good. I mean, you could prick his belly and it would kind of deflate like a massive gas balloon. And he hasn't seen his micro peanut in a very long time, I think, right? It must be somewhere under that giant gas balloon. But Jabba the Hutt, Steve Bourbon Bannon, could be a federal plant. You know, in 2017, he was begging President Trump not to fire James Comey, who was spearheading the Russia hoax. You get that? So this guy was inside of the White House at the time, not for long though, and he was pressuring President Trump not to fire James Comey, even though he was spearheading or quarterbacking the coup against President Trump. And he was leaking from within the White House to MSNBC, Cernovich, the Gateway Pundit. Yeah, I said Gateway Pundit. And he was very upset, you could say, but at the same time, he was adding to all the chaos. You know, you had Intel leaking phone calls. You had some people leaking from the White House. Then he also leaked from the White House. You had Russiagate, all of that. Anyway, he was fired, and he then went back to Breitbart. He was also fired from Breitbart thereafter. But before he was fired, he got people to send in videos burning MAGA hats. Like firing Steve Bourbon Bannon was somehow against MAGA. Well, guess what happened recently? Yeah, people were sending in videos burning MAGA hats because Pam Bondi wasn't fired. You get that? So you can see it's the same person behind all of it. And he's always pretending to be MAGA. His sidekicks, his little girls there, they call him the MAGA OG and the MAGA architect. Can you believe that stuff? Man, give me a break. But anyway, Roger Stone is exposing him for being an Epstein guest. I've done so too. I mean, he spent months going to the mansions of Epstein, all for an interview, he says, and then never releases the interview. Now he suddenly claims that next year, before midterms, he's going to release a series about Epstein and possible links to intel agencies. But why just before midterms, right? Very suspicious. And then just yesterday he said that Republicans are going to lose 30, 40 seats. I mean, that's his target, it seems. And that's why he's going to release the Epstein material. So I can guess that in 2019, he was asking Epstein a lot of stuff about Trump. Now, of course, Trump never did anything. I mean, his contact with Epstein was limited to a charity event at one of his houses with wives there. I mean, it was like a normal thing. And one time he got a ride with his wife back then, Miss Maples, and Tiffany, right? And also just a normal thing. But he did ban Epstein from Trump resorts because he was bothering little girls there, right? But you never know. Like with Ghislaine Maxwell, she doesn't want to be suicided. She could say anything in a congressional hearing. I mean, she's already in jail, right? And she doesn't want to get killed, so she can be made to say anything. And as President Trump said, some of the Epstein files have been modified, altered, and forged. And Steve Bannon could have prepared some interview where he's kind of guiding many questions about Trump, even if Epstein doesn't accuse Trump of anything, or it's just innuendo, right? Or just to make the news and to kind of smear Trump's name, even though Trump did nothing or nothing is said. It's just the innuendo of the thing. And that's why he's releasing it just before midterms. So he's not a MAGA guy. He's not even a Trump guy. In fact, Steve Bannon is an old drunkard that hates Trump, is very jealous of Trump, and he's a Democrat. I mean, this guy often spouts eat the rich leftist talking points. He calls it conservative populism or whatever, but it's just Bernie Sanders repackaged. This guy's not a conservative, and he's not a Trumper, and he's not MAGA. He's fake MAGA, like super, ultra, hyper fake. But we all know that. But is he a federal plant or not? I mean, it does seem pretty suspicious. And of course, we're not people that were born yesterday, right? Some of you were born in the last century, and we have common sense, right? MAGA is about common sense. Steve Bannon could have interviewed Epstein in the lobby of the Four Seasons or or at a Starbucks, right? Does he really have to go to the Epstein mansion where you have little girls bouncing around like bunnies in a thong or whatnot? I mean, that's creepy as hell, right? I mean, the guy also spent a lot of days on the yacht with that Chinese billionaire. You also have little bunnies running around. So now he hired a couple of bunnies for the war room, right? What a creep. But yeah, like I said, he has a micro peanut somewhere under that gas balloon. He's not going to be raping nobody, right? I mean, he cannot even rape a mouse with that thing. But the truth is, you don't need many months to do an interview with Epstein. Could be a day, could be 2 days maximum, or it could even be 3 days. Does it really have to be months and months that you're going over there all the time? He must have liked something at those mansions. So I'm not saying he did anything. Maybe he got a sponge bath. I don't know. Maybe he got something else. I don't know. I'm just saying, it's common sense that you don't go there for months or, many days for just an interview. I mean, how much is there to talk about, right? There must have been something additional that was very attractive